On today's bonus episode of Locked On Thunder, Ajay Mitchell will change everything about this team come playoff time. I'm going to tell you why coming up.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world, where I'm your host, member and beat writer for ThunderOnSI.com. Rylan Stiles also hosting the OKC Dream Team over on Patreon, Locked On NBA Game Night on Thursday nights, and of course covering this team since 2020. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter, @LoThunderPod. On today's bonus episode of Locked On Thunder, we're talking all things Ajay Mitchell, how he changes the Thunder's playoff outlook, how he helps reincorporate J-Dub into the mix once J-Dub is healthy, and so much more. You everydayers know that we are here for you Monday through Friday, plus these bonus shows, plus our squad shows, plus every single game recap. We have plenty in store for you, including our Everydayer Club, which now is the perfect time to join. Again, if you're wanting to get into the Everydayer Club, you've been thinking about it, this is the perfect time because you get ad-free episodes. You get our Discord server where we talk about the games. You can text me anytime you want to, and now with the NCAA tournament tipping off, you can get into our Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. It should be a lot of fun to compete with all of you. See if you can beat me in our bracket challenge. Right now, go to the link in the show notes down below, or just simply go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer and pick the Thunder feed. And if you type in the promo code MARCH, you get the first month for free by heading over there. But we're talking Ajay Mitchell today on this bonus show. And I think that Ajay Mitchell changes everything for the Thunder's playoff outlook. Yes, OKC did win a championship last year, so how could he change everything? But it's a new year. It's a new environment for Oklahoma City. There's going to be more competitiveness among the playoff bracket than ever before. And last year, they were fortunate to win a championship when you dive into how hard it was for them to manufacture half-court offense. When you factor in the fact that they shot the 13th best out of 16 teams from three-point land, and there were all these little details that could have swung against them. And the thing about Oklahoma City is they were so good last year in spite of that. And what made them that good was their defense, and their defense hasn't dropped off. They're still the best defense in the NBA. The only team that can play their caliber of defense in the NBA is Oklahoma City. And whenever you still have that defense at that high of a level, if you just fixed a few things that you could point to and say, yeah, but is that three-point shooting sustainable? Is that half-court offense sustainable? If you can address those areas, it does change everything, because now it becomes a factor of, yeah, San Antonio's great. Yeah, Denver, I still believe in them as a contender. Yeah, the Eastern Conference has some formidable foes. But man, they're all below a tier when it comes to the Oklahoma City Thunder because of what Ajay Mitchell can provide. He's over a point per possession in isolation. He's in the 76th percentile as a pick and roll ball handler. He shoots 40% off dribble jumpers. He shoots 68% at the rim according to Cleaning the Glass, 49% at the rim. 49% in the mid-range, 40% on corner threes. And what he's able to do, going up against man defenses, over a point per possession, in transition, also over a point per possession, and then even against zone, where he handled it really well against Denver on Monday night in his return. There's just not a scheme you can put out there that can slow down Ajay Mitchell offensively. And he's able to play off of your most important players, Shai, J-Dub, and be additive to Chet's game so well that it's going to be impossible to keep him off the floor. He's going to be that vital to this Thunder's playoff rotation. You look at just Denver, 12 of his points came in the pick and roll. 2 more came off handoffs, where he's attacking off a triple handoff. That's 14 of his points right there. 4 more came in spot-up opportunities. He takes such pressure off of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a big way, where Ajay can bring the ball up the court. And that limits the amount of exposure you can have to Shai having 2 bodies at him at all times. Because if you're going to allow Ajay to bring up the ball and orchestrate the offense, and from the word go, you've got 2 on SGA, well, look at the math on that, right? You're playing 4 on 3. And 4 on 3 with a guy who has the ball in his hands in Ajay Mitchell, who is a automatic paint touch. His foot will hit the paint every possession. And if you have those three that you're playing with, right, against these teams who, look, if you're going to put your best defender on Shai and you're going to help with your second best defender, that leaves three for most teams. One of them going to be good, one's going to be neutral, one's going to be bad defensively in all likelihood. And if the four for Oklahoma City is Ajay Mitchell being flanked by Chet Holmgren, being flanked by J-Dub, and you put those two guys plus a shooter, you put those two guys even plus iHeart with his screening ability to free up AJ's man, to where now you've really got a numbers advantage, and now AJ's really downhill. It makes it impossible for you to get to what you want to do, which is double team Shai at all times. And you saw that on the last possession. Denver in the second half had put two bodies on Shai the entire second half until the very last shot, because AJ's the one that goes and gets the inbound. And now Denver's going to play straight up because you can't get into that math problem. And when AJ tosses the ball over to Shai, now you've got a generational score. You've got the guy who's going to hit the shot, who's going to have the moment with the ball in his hands and a one-on-one opportunity, and he hits that shot. And he's the story. He's the talking point, rightfully so, including on this show. But it shows you how AJ can set that stuff up, and that can happen throughout the course of the game. And so it really lets you take the pressure off of Shai initially. And then you're not going to want the ball out of Shai's hands the entire time if you're Oklahoma City. That's 100% true. But whenever Shai's the one initiating offense and they put him in traffic, now he's kicking the ball over to Ajay Mitchell, who can knock down corner threes if it's a driving kick scenario with SGA, who can attack off the catch and get to the mid-range and score against drop coverage, who can get to the rim and get by bigs if they try to play up on him, who can get to the free throw line. And of course, he can set the table for his teammates as well, where he makes the additional pass. He can set guard-to-guard screens, Shai can hit him on the short roll, and AJ knows where the ball needs to go next to continue to keep a defense off balance, to continue to keep a defense scrambling. And that's what this Thunder offense is going to have to be predicated on, is over and over and over again through the course of a 48-minute game in the playoffs, when defenses are more competitive, more intense, more locked in, and better than they ever are else. That's why I still believe in Denver. I believe that Denver, yes, their defensive numbers right now are terrible. What happens in the playoffs? They have a collective buy-in, a collective energy, a collective intensity that they don't get up for every single game of the regular season, which makes the numbers a bit murky. But even so, if you for 48 minutes are making them be on their heels, you're making them rotate, you're making them scramble to figure things out, inevitably, there's going to be breakdowns on the back end that you've got to be ready to exploit, and Ajay Mitchell is a guy who can exploit those. And so it just gives the Thunder this relief valve to relieve some of that pressure off of them in the half-court offense that they didn't have a year ago, because AJ couldn't hardly play in the playoffs last year because of his turf toe injury he had in January that really shut him down all the way to the last two games of the season last year, and there just wasn't enough time to work him back into what they were trying to do. This is a guy who can create his own shot, who can get to the free throw line, who can get to the rim at will, who can spray the ball out. And it's also a guy who can do all those things that you cannot justify putting your top defender on him. And in a lot of lineups, you can't justify putting your top defender on him, your second best defender on him. And with Chet on the floor, you want your big man still helping with Chet. So at that point, who are you left with? To where AJ is going to constantly find himself in a position to attack one of, if not the weakest link. Because you look around at how these defenses are constructed in the NBA. How many teams have the next guy, in the sense of you might have a guy like Peyton Watson who you feel good about defending Shai. Now, no one's a Shai stopper, just like no one's a Jokic stopper. But you feel good he can compete against Shai. But you still got to put Gordon on J-Dub. And now who's the next guy up? And you can do that with every team. It's not a pick on Denver thing. You can do this with every team. When you got to worry about Shai and J-Dub, and you've got to worry about Chet's mobility and Chet's ability to finish plays, then AJ can be the guy who comes in and kind of throws a wrench in your defensive game plan. He's really good in transition. And defensively, man, he not only competes his butt off, but he can generate steals. He ranks in the 94th percentile in pick and roll defense. And in isolation, matchups have not been able to call him to the ball and get an isolation attempt on him and have had their way with him. It's a small sample size because all this stuff is with AJ because he has not played a ton this year. But matchups right now, according to Synergy, when they get him in isolation, they're shooting 3 for 21 against AJ Mitchell in isolation. AJ produces 2.6 deflections per game, which is only behind Kaysen at 4.5, which is unreal. J-Dub at 3.3, Caruso at 3.2, and SGA at 3.1. And then it's AJ. For the cavernous group of defenders that they have, AJ's right there. And AJ's had success. And so not only has he had success defending in isolation, but like even the Thunder can get to another level in the playoffs defensively, as you saw. You saw it last year. I mean, they were historically great. Historical point differential, historically great in the regular season last year defensively. And even they went to another level in the postseason. And so with the amount of screen navigation from Kaysen, the amount of screen navigation from Caruso and J-Dub and Dort, like you're not going to be able to hunt mismatches anyway. And if this is the guy you think is the mismatch, you'll take your chances with a guy who's only let up 3 for 21 in isolation. So these are all ways that AJ Mitchell just himself is able to impact the game. Himself is able to change the dynamic of what Oklahoma City dealt with a year ago in their quest for a championship and how he elevates their second attempt at going for another championship and being the first team since 2018 to go back-to-back. It changes everything because even on a roster that coming into the year retained 99% of last year's team, and since then has only swapped out Ousmane Dieng for Jared McCain, which is a big upgrade, but they're still better. They're still better than they were a year ago because of what AJ Mitchell can provide, because of the improvement from these other guys on this roster as well. It's been really impressive to see. Coming up, though, that's not all. I think that AJ Mitchell can really help incorporate J-Dub back into the fold whenever it is that J-Dub can return. And I'll tell you why coming up on today's Locked On Thunder podcast. The first one, say right now, but your friends over at TurboTax, go check out TurboTax today, folks. I use TurboTax, and you should too, because it's tax season. And for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. It really is. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient for you, sitting in waiting rooms with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if you're really going to get your situation solved. But this is the year you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Go check them out today at TurboTax. I use them. You should too. Also, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Game Time. Go check out Game Time today, folks, because nothing in the world beats being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part has not always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. You can pull up the Game Time app today, pick an upcoming NBA game, and have your tickets loaded in within minutes. Loved seeing the all-in pricing feature because I love it so much that there's no surprise fees at checkout. The price you see, the price you're going to pay. I love that so much. Being able to see a view from your seat before you buy makes the right decision easy for you to know exactly what you're going to get into. Zone deals stand out as well. Choosing the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save. Great last-minute ticket options as well. NBA tickets showing up at a solid price. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Go download that Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Go download that Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. You everydayers know that this is a bonus episode of Locked On Thunder on top of our daily show, on top of our squad shows, on top of our post-game recap shows, and on top of our bonus shows here that we're doing right now. And if you're an everydayer, you can join the Everydayer Club with the link in the description down below. Use code MARCH for your first month free. Sign up for our NCAA Tournament Bracket Challenge, and you can try to beat me in it. You can also try to win yourself some free Locked On merch. So it's a lot of great stuff over there. Let's talk AJ Mitchell still, because I think that not only can he elevate this team in the playoffs just by himself, but he can make the transition easier for Jalen Williams. J-Dub dealt with offseason wrist surgery and then had to get screws removed right before the season, and then came back, didn't look like himself. He talked about it. He didn't have the same grip strength. He didn't have the same range of motion in his wrist. The handle was off. It threw off the handle. It threw off the shot. It threw off everything for him offensively. And then he comes back the second time after dealing with a hamstring issue in Miami. And for those 2 games against the Lakers, where he dominates the fourth quarter and gets the Thunder a win on the road, and against the Suns, where he dominates from start to finish until his night was over, he re-aggravated that hamstring strain again. He looked exactly like the All-NBA player. He was getting downhill to the rim. He was shooting the ball very comfortably. He talked about after that Lakers game that was the best his wrist had felt since last April when he suffered the injury. So everything was trending in the right direction for J-Dub. And then he had another hamstring setback, re-aggravation, whatever it is. And he's still been out right now. Don't know if he's going to play tomorrow against Boston. We'll have an updated podcast for you on that front. But whenever it is that J-Dub gets back, whether it's Boston, whether it's a week from that, whenever it is, when he comes back, Ajay Mitchell's addition to this rotation can just make life so much easier on J-Dub, not just in the immediate future, but also in the playoffs. Because I think that the reality is, like, you hope, obviously, that J-Dub can just simply be on the court, but you're asking a lot of him to not only get on the court while working through the wrist, while working through the hamstring, and handle the same usage and the same workload and the same responsibility to this offense that he did a year ago. Which, to his credit, he did all that last year with an actual torn ligament in his wrist. So I'm not going to put anything past J-Dub, but anytime you can make life easier on him, you should take that opportunity. I think that Ajay Mitchell makes life easier on him, where you can use J-Dub as Ajay Mitchell's pick and roll partner, and J-Dub's rolling to the basket, or he's cutting off the ball, or J-Dub is getting a catch and shoot look as his wrist has felt better now than it ever has. And he's still on the year shooting 35% on catch and shoot looks. Obviously, that number is going to go up with the improved wrist that he's talked about. But you can put J-Dub in these off-the-ball situations where he's cutting, he's rolling to the basket, he's getting to a spot in the mid-range, and you're getting the ball to him there, and then he can decide to either shoot over the top of a defense or attack the rim. And you're just making life easier where it's not all on him to create. It's not all on him to manufacture this offense. And he can play a more consistent role. Because you can think back to these games where the fourth quarter starts and J-Dub's been having a really good game. Shai's been having a really good game. And it's like, okay, well, with Shai's rotation, J-Dub's going to start the fourth quarter. J-Dub, get it done. It's J-Dub time. It's J-Dub time to start the fourth quarter. Get it done. And now you have a partner in crime with him to help the job get done. And now you have a position where, what if J-Dub's just really feeling it as an off-ball player? Like, what if he's just really feeling it from the positions that he's being set up in from Shai and from that starting lineup, and with some off-ball screens and with some pin downs and with the ability to cut baseline? What if he's just really feeling it as a play finisher? He's trailing the play, and now that you've shown to at AJ at the top, he's still trailing the play and going right through the middle of the lane, and you toss the ball over the top to him, and he gets a nice finish. Then he can stay in that off-ball role for the entirety of a game if that's what the game is dictating. And then there's also been games where, from the opening tip, J-Dub's having the better game than even Shai on the ball. He's having the better game of creating his own shot. He's having the better game of getting his offense jump started. And when he's really feeling it like that, then AJ can play off of J-Dub. AJ can set the guard-to-guard screens. AJ can be the catch-and-shoot option. AJ can drive to the cup, kick out as the defense collapses, and now put J-Dub in a spot where J-Dub's able to attack an already slanted defense, an already scrambling defense, because they collapsed onto AJ in the paint, because for the last 6 possessions, AJ's been killing them in the paint with a floater, with a layup, with a mid-range pull-up, and now you're turning your eye and attention to Mitchell, and then Mitchell makes that decision out to J-Dub, and now wait a second. We just collapsed on AJ Mitchell. There's an all-NBA player now with the ball in his hands. And it's a fire drill for the opposing defense. Like, these are the ways that these two guys can work off of one another, and these are the ways that it can pay off for J-Dub, who is going to be just the human nature of trying to fight the uphill battle of getting healthy, getting back to playing, getting the rust off, ingraining yourself into the team, and having still the expectation and the responsibility that he'll have to bear. Having a guy like AJ Mitchell really helps out Jalen Williams, especially, I think. I think that they're just a seamless fit. And we've talked now about how AJ helps Shai. We've just described how AJ helps J-Dub. And the last thing I'd say about AJ Mitchell, remember when Chet Holmgren was averaging 18 points a night and was taking off like a rocket ship offensively. And everybody wanted to know, why was that? What's gotten into Chet? Has Chet had an offensive breakout? And you everydayers know on this show, if you've made us your first listen and listened to every single show, it's largely because he's getting set up and he's taking advantage of it. He's cutting to the rim now more than ever. As a pick and roll man, he's rolling to the rim now more than ever, instead of just being exclusively at the pop. Instead of hanging out at the three-point line, waiting around to be a catch-and-shoot three-point shooting option, now he's sitting in the dunker spot, even amidst traffic, even amidst a crowd, even with a guy driving to the rim, because he's making himself available for these dump-off passes off the drive. He's making himself available for these put-back dunks and these second-chance opportunities. With a more active Chet Holmgren, Ajay Mitchell can get him involved as well. So now we've just checked all the boxes of the three most important pieces, the three most important names, the three most important options for this Thunder offense and for this Thunder team. They all get elevated by Ajay Mitchell. And you didn't get to see it last postseason, but I really think that this year, whenever you're sitting around, and I think that you will be, I think that after the first round series, I think midway through the second round series, you're going to be sitting around and saying, wow, this Thunder team is more productive in the half-court offense than I expected them to be. And they're certainly more productive in the half-court offense than they were a year ago. And the names will be the same. The jerseys will be the same. The intensities will be the same. The highest scores will be the same. But the difference is going to be having that glue guy, having that guy who can manufacture offense, named Ajay Mitchell. And I don't know that his appearance will be as jarring because he was on the roster last year, and they even threw him into a finals game last year. But his role will make all the difference in the world. I think that he'll be a big part of what they do and a big part in their chase to defend their title. Speaking of chases, Bam Adebayo, huh? Are you kidding me? 83 points last night? That was fun. Look, was it ethical? Shut up. Just stop. Just stop. Yes, it was funny. It was funny to see them foul. Both teams were fouling. Both teams were trying to make it happen. There's no ethical way to score 83 points in a basketball game in 48 minutes. There just isn't. He did what he had to do. It was fun. It was the Wizards, and guess what? Every single player gets to play Washington at least twice a year. Like, every team gets to play Washington twice a year. Bam's the one that did it. It's a heck of a run for the NBA. There's so many great storylines every single night. There was great storylines last night that got buried by Bam. It's like, this is just awesome. It's an awesome time for basketball. It's an awesome time for Oklahoma City. So, folks, subscribe to Locked On Thunder anywhere you get your podcast from, including on YouTube. And until next time, we're going to have another full-blown show with you with Derek Parker. We'll probably talk a lot of draft on that show and also preview that Celtics game coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll also have a Celtics preview, hopefully with John Corrales tomorrow as well. So a lot coming at you, plus our squad show on Thursday. Until then, be good and be good to one another.